whatever he hits, he destroys.
Hey, it's me, and welcome to Trump Mafia. Now, President Trump is going to war with Choco Motors, also known as General Motors, and I'll give you a brief history of what happened. Now, you had this company going bankrupt. So, Choco and the Iranian gargoyle gave Choco Motors lots of money. In return, they would fire the CEO. They would install the UAW, the union, as a higher power, meaning they would sit in every meeting, corporate meetings, where normally they're not even supposed to be there. I mean, you're talking about union people sitting in all kinds of board meetings or marketing meetings, and what the hell? Why do you have a union guy sitting in a marketing meeting, right? But it's kind of like the Communist Union supervising everything. And so they got the money. But also they were promising to Choco to build that electric car. And Choco was even promoting it, saying he was going to buy a Volt. And now it turns out they're going to cancel the production of that electric car. But they took the subsidies. And so what you have is you have a bunch of subsidies still going on. They wasted so many subsidies on electric cars and all the liberal crap, the Choco crap, if you will. And they gave a lot of money to socialist and left-wing organizations and unions, not only in Ohio, but also, of course, in Michigan. And so we're talking about Choco and the Iranian gargoyle and their people turning GM into another one of those left-wing organizations, right? Pumping out money to unions and, social justice organizations and, lots of money laundering. And then using taxpayer money to give them subsidies to build electric cars and all of that. And so now, they're not even closing any factories in China or Mexico. No, they're going to close the factories in Ohio and Michigan. That's outrageous. That's not America First. That's not AFF, America First Forever. That's China and Mexico first. Well, F Choco Motors, right? So President Trump is right to be upset. And so he's going to pull some of the government subsidies because they're wasting this money anyway. And they're not putting American workers first. They're putting Chinese workers first and Mexican workers. So it's still a globalist company in that sense. And the CEO, Mary whatever, she's not a real CEO. She was a person that worked in human resources. Now, this is the first time in GM history that, some idiot from human resources personnel, right, goes up and becomes a CEO. We're not talking about someone with an engineering background or someone with a finance background. No, human resources. Get it? Social justice. And so, of course, a lot of people got promoted that should not have been promoted. I mean, they were promoted based on the color of their skin. Or maybe a couple of them were trannies, right? Promoted in the Choco years. And so Choco Motors is not getting with the program, which is America First. And so why would the U.S. government still continue to give them billions of dollars? Because they're wasting all the money. They're not putting American workers first. And so what? Move the headquarters to Mexico or to Shanghai, right? And let the CEO eat noodles in Shanghai. But if you're going to be an American company with a headquarters in the USA, you have to look out for American workers. Now, it's pretty sickening if you think about it, because you have socialists like Choco, and they're all for the unions, but not for the workers. You know, people like Choco, they couldn't care less about American workers. Anyway, many of them are, you know, not on the level of Choco, who's a prince, don't you know? And the Iranian gargoyle is a queen. And so they care about the unions, they care about the money being funneled to all these communist organizations and unions, because it's all about politics. It's not about the American workers. And that's been a lie of the left wing for many decades. It's always like, we're for the workers. No, they're for the unions. And as you know, the unions are the building blocks of communism. And so President Trump is going to war with Choco Motors. Now, I'm also very disappointed in that company behaving in that way. And I know it's because of the Choco years and the Choco influence, and that's why I call it Choco Motors. Now, they have to become an American company. And so I say close the factories in Mexico, close the factories in China, and keep these factories open in Ohio and Michigan. And, you know, if one model didn't work out, just retool and build a model that does sell in the USA, and open up some new factories in the USA, and forget about Mexico and China. I mean, they can build their own factories with their own cars, right? The taco car and the noodle cart, or what not. The dim sum mobile. And we're going to build American cars, and we're going to put American workers first, right? So no more Choco Motors. And last but not least, in fact, I should have led with this, but I have a suspicion here that Choco Motors is supposed to be the first company to lay off people and to kind of give credence to all those articles about a recession coming, a downturn coming. And you know, car sales are a big deal as an indicator of the economy, and that it's an establishment plan, that they close these factories, they have layoffs, and to hurt Trump, and to damage the economy, and to start an avalanche of other companies saying, hey, if Choco Motors is doing it, maybe we should also. And you see various bigger companies laying off people, closing factories. And for what? There's no reason. So you have fake articles about a recession coming. You have Choco Motors doing something that they shouldn't even be doing. I mean, they could easily save all of those jobs, as I explained. But it seems there's a nefarious purpose here. And for Choco Motors, it's okay, right? I mean, they save money when they close factories and lay off workers. So it's not like they're damaged by doing it. But the purpose is really to cause that avalanche and to be the first. And I know that this is happening because it was really Valerie Jarrett and Choco who, they put their claws onto the Choco Motors and they didn't let go. And I believe that these hard left people still have a big influence on Choco Motors, as well as, of course, the UAW. As I mentioned, they're in every single meeting. And if you think the UAW cares about workers, you're wrong. They care about money, dues. So if they lose on a couple of dues from laid off workers, maybe they're getting a payoff on another track from the company or from elsewhere. I mean, that's the reality, right? Unions don't care about workers, and Choco Motors doesn't care about workers. Liberals don't care about workers. It seems the only one that cares is President Trump. And so he's fighting for the American workers and to save these jobs before Christmas. There is no reason, or no solid reason, to close those factories. Like I said, close the factories in China and Mexico. Don't hurt the American people like this.
shadowy flight into the dangerous world of a man who does not exist. A young loner on a crusade to champion the cause of the innocent, the helpless,